Football is the ultimate team sport, but sometimes even that isn't enough, because every once in a while, a player is so dominant, so clearly elite, that their team simply can't keep up. Today, we're talking about NFL stars who are too good for their own teams. Players who dominated their position, did everything right, and still watched their prime years disappear because of bad rosters, bad coaching, and complete organizational failures. This isn't about empty stats, this is about wasted greatness, and let's start this countdown. Now, at number 5, we have Joe Thomas on the Cleveland Browns. Joe Thomas is arguably the greatest left tackle in NFL history, and he spent his entire prime protecting chaos. From 2007 to 2017, he had 10 Pro Bowls, 6 first-team All-Pros, and 10,363 consecutive snaps played, an NFL record. And during that stretch, the Browns cycled through more than 20 starting quarterbacks, multiple head coaches, and never once built a functional offense. In 2016-2017, right in the middle of his prime years, Cleveland went just 1-31. Joe Thomas never missed a snap, never complained publicly, and never asked out. He just lined up every Sunday and dominated, while his team collapsed around him. If offensive linemen had team success, Joe Thomas would have been a dynasty cornerstone. Instead, he became a Hall of Famer on one of the worst run franchises in sports history. At number 4, Adrian Peterson on the Minnesota Vikings. Adrian Peterson wasn't just great, he was terrifying. In 2012, coming off a torn ACL, Peterson rushed for 2,097 yards, won the NFL MVP, and was just 8 yards short of the all-time rushing record. That season, he was the Vikings' offense. Across his Minnesota career, he had 7 All-Pro selections, 4 rushing titles, constantly stacked boxes, and had almost no consistent quarterback play. Imagine having Christian Ponder and Tarvarius Jackson, a rotating cast of average at best passers. Defenses knew what was coming and still couldn't stop him. The Vikings relied on Peterson to carry entire offenses year after year instead of building a complete team around him, and while he dragged them to the playoffs multiple times, they never gave him the support his talent deserved. Peterson didn't just play running back, he played entire offensive systems. Now at number 3, we have Calvin Johnson of the Detroit Lions. Calvin Johnson, also known as Megatron, might be the most physically dominant wide receiver the NFL has ever seen. At 6'5", 236 pounds, with elite speed, he was unguardable. In 2012, he had 1,964 receiving yards, still the NFL single-season record. The Lions went 4-12. Let that sink in. Despite all this, he had 3 first-team All-Pros, 6 Pro Bowls, and consistent double and triple teams. Detroit never built a consistent contending team around him. No offensive line stability, no defensive support, and consistent coaching changes. At just 30 years old, Calvin Johnson walked away from football, not because he couldn't play anymore, but because the grind of carrying a broken organization wasn't worth it. When a generational talent retires early out of frustration, that's not on the player, that's on the whole franchise. At number 2, we have Barry Sanders of the Detroit Lions. Barry Sanders was pure magic. No running back before or since has looked like him in the open field. He had 10 straight 1,000-yard seasons. He had 2,053 rushing yards in 1997, the NFL MVP, and countless broken ankles. And yet the Lions won 1 playoff game during his entire career. Barry Sanders routinely rushed for massive numbers without elite offensive line play, without modern spacing, and without a balanced offense to help him. In 1999, still in his prime, Barry Sanders shocked the world and retired, not because he lost his ability, but because he lost his patience. The Lions never maximized one of the greatest players to ever touch a football, and football fans were robbed of even more greatness to come from all of these top 3 players. And the reason I say that is because at number 1, we have Matthew Stafford on the Detroit Lions. This is the most obvious example in modern NFL history. Stafford had elite arm talent, toughness, and consistently strong numbers. And in 12 seasons with Detroit, 0 playoff wins, constant coaching changes, bottom-tier defenses, and little roster support. Stafford played through injuries, game-winning drives, and endless rebuilds. Then in 2021, he gets traded to the Rams. What happens? He wins the Super Bowl, has game-winning drives in the playoffs, instantly validated, and this year, he's going to win the MVP. Nothing about Stafford changed, the situation did. Matthew Stafford is the ultimate proof that talent alone doesn't define a legacy, but the environment does. And no star player was more clearly too good for his team than Stafford was when he was on the Lions. Winning defines legacies, but it shouldn't erase context. Every player on this list did everything right, they dominated, they stayed loyal, and their teams failed them. Now it's your turn. Who's the biggest snub? Who deserves better than anyone on this list? And drop it in the comments below because I already know this one's about to start some arguments.